Hey there, good evening, and welcome to Prog Monster. My name is Murph, and I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock, hard rock, heavy metal, and other forms of rock music. Okay, it's Wednesday night, and so we're doing our Wednesday night favorites. And I know it's a little bit late, but this three-parter is taking a lot of energy and a lot of time, but I wanted to do it right and try to be accurate. Um, Perhaps I have too many of songs from one or two groups, but those are the songs that have been the ones I've been listening to for the past 40 years. And there's a lot of new stuff I've been listening to, and a lot of stuff in the last year I've been listening to, but it doesn't have quite the longevity yet. So, I don't want to put it in there just because I want to keep the mix like spread out. It's got to be, to me, it's got to be my favorites. Otherwise, why am I doing this, right? So it's not like these are the best songs of all time or the best um, rock songs ever. They're just my particular favorite. Okay, so this category is, I'm sorry, this is my favorite progressive rock songs, part 2 or part B if you prefer. And it's basically the longs. So I took this kind of analogy from the Genesis shorts and longs. So I did the shorts last time, and this time I'm doing the longs. And then part C will be the epics, which is songs over 14 minutes, I believe. Epic long songs that are my favorites. There's not as many of those. However, those ones I have to say are among my favorites. So anyways, this was a fairly tough assignment. I narrowed it down to about 40 to 50 songs, and then I cut it down to the top 25. And then I did some honorable mentions as well. I hope you guys enjoy these songs as much as I did. And basically I'm going to do it the same way I always do it, which is go from my least, or number 25 in this case, to my favorite, which is number 1 in this case. Now, there isn't a huge gap here between number 25 and number 1. Every one of these songs could be as high as number 1. To be honest with you, some of them have been as high as number 1. Number 1 in this particular category seems to change fairly regularly. If I'd done this a couple months ago, there would be about a half a dozen songs that weren't even on this list that are now on this list. And there'd also be, I'm looking at the top 5 right now, maybe only 2 or 3 of them might have been in the top 5. It's just the way it goes with these kind of songs, what you feel like. But most of these songs I immensely love. So this isn't a worst to best. It's more like a songs I love to songs I really love. Anyways, I'm dragging this a little bit, so I'm going to get into it now. So we'll start, of course, with number 25, which comes from, sorry, I seem to be having an issue with that today. Comes from the Nursery Crime album by Genesis. It's called The Music Box. A fantastic song, I love this song. I never get tired of it. Sometimes I will just play this song off of the album. Not that I don't love that album. I love that whole album. But sometimes I just want to hear this particular song. This is a stable song for me. I play it fairly regularly, and I sing it quite a bit. It's one of my favorite shower songs, as you might want to say. Okay, the next song up is a song I've long loved. It's just this endless guitar riff that goes on that just really sends you. It's one of those great headphone songs, and it comes from an album I really love a lot. One of maybe between my top 10 and my top 20. It's somewhere in there. And we're talking about Yes's Starship Trooper. Top line song. Love this song. I love the way Steve Howe just plays that riff, that guitar. I don't even know what you would call it. Just this mellow but continuous riff of the guitar, and does a solo at the same time in there. And then you get just fantastic. And I think John Anderson's voice on this is very good as well, as it is on this whole album. Number 23 comes from a member of Yes, but on his own solo album, and it's a song called Animation by John Anderson, which I really, really like a lot. There's a couple songs by him that I forgot to include here, so I will mention them in my honorable mentions later. They wouldn't have made the top 25, but they're really close to it. They're last minute kind of remembered them and put them on my list, but I like them both quite a bit, but I'll get to them after. So Animation, John Anderson. Number 22 comes from Eloy. I had an Eloy album, the one called Colors, in my playlist for about 6 months, and I really came to like this song quite a bit. I now have another Eloy album in my playlist that I've been playing a lot, but I haven't been listening to it long enough for it to make a huge impact. And so number 22 goes to the song Silhouettes from Eloy. Number 21 comes from an album that took me 40 years to get to. Kept getting close to it, kept saying, okay, I'm going to get it this time at the store, and then something else would happen. I would buy something else. Or I almost got it once. I had gone there with the singular intent to buy the album, and they didn't have it. But it's been like that with this album. It's just been off and on. I've known about it for 40 years, and I finally got it about a year ago. Yeah, or around about a year ago I got it. And it was in my set list until recently when I got another one by this group, and I switched them out. So we're talking about King Crimson, of course, and the song is Epitaph, number 21. Number 20 is... The thing with number 20 is it's a heavy metal song, but I think it also falls into the progressive category. So I kind of think of it as both, but for my purposes tonight, I decided to include it in my top 25 progressive songs because I like it so much. And that's The Seventh Son of the Seventh Son by Iron Maiden. Now, most people wouldn't think of Iron Maiden as being part of the progressive rock scene, but that song is definitely progressive, even if it is heavy metal. Okay, number 19 is the first by this group to get on, like the first one on the list so far. It's number 19, Comfortably Numb by Pink Floyd. This is a band who I was never really much into because of this particular album, but I always liked this particular song. Took a while because of the album. I've had this a couple times with different groups, but this is for this particular song, Comfortably Numb, and for Pink Floyd. This album, there was the whole album that kind of stood me off from Pink Floyd for a while, unfortunately. But I eventually discovered. I bought. I think I've just repeated this story several times, but I bought Dark Side of the Moon at a yard sale for $1 once, and then that was it. That began my Pink Floyd journey. So anyways, number 19, Comfortably Numb, Pink Floyd. Number 18 is a song that has stood the test of time on one of my top 5 albums. The album itself has begun to wane with time just from playing, and you just get worn out, not worn out physically, but you just get tired of it, and so it's beginning to wane, and it may actually slip down, which I never thought would happen. But a lot of these albums I've had 40 plus years, so sometimes they wane, and this one's starting to wane, but this song hasn't waned. It's still a big and important song to me, and that's Natural Science, number 18 for Rush from the Permanent Waves album. Number 17 comes from an album I did this week on my look back, which is Tornado, but the song is On the Silent Wings of Freedom, which I think is the best song on that album and one of their best songs overall. The keyboards on this are just off the charts. Like, I'm just amazed at how quick he is on those keyboards, and he does this little bit with the harpsichord as well, which is really interesting. Okay, number 16 comes from King Crimson again, from the same album, it was my favorite. I think it's my favorite track on the album. I really like it a lot. It is the song that launched King Crimson for me, and that is I Talk to the Wind. I love this song. Fantastic. So it comes in at number 16. Number 15 comes from a group that took me. I bought the album in 83, and I've listened to it since 83. And I've tried, and I've tried, and I've tried, and just ad infinitum to get into this group. It just took forever, it seems to me, for me to really penetrate its impenetrability. But now that I have, I really like this song a lot, and as I do some of the other tracks, but this one's my favorite, Peel the Paint by Gentle Giant. Fantastic tune. Okay, number 14. This was an album that I bought a bunch of this group's albums in a bulk, and they sat on the shelf for a long time. And then one day I was somewhere and I saw this album, and I thought, you know what, I don't have this one. But I never listened to the other ones either. Only the two that I originally bought when I was a teenager that I listened to. But then I bought this album, and it was the first. I decided I would listen to them in the order they were released until so I started with this one, which was called Trespass by Genesis. So it wasn't their first album, but to me it's their first album. It's their first progressive album anyways. And the song I've chosen for number 14 is The Knife. I love the lyrics here. I love the story. I love the aggressiveness of this song. It's so much more aggressive than any other song on the album. Stands out, and it comes right at the end. Just leaves you with a pump, right? Number 13 is the song that put Floyd on the map for me, made them a top 20 band, and gave them what I think is one of their first really good albums for me. It's not Dark Side of the Moon, which I really like quite a bit, but this is Animals, Dogs. I love this song. Play it a lot. The whole album is fantastic, but this particular one I like the best. Number 12 is from a band that may or may not really be a progressive rock band. Yeah, they had some progressive elements, especially early on before they became famous. But some of their stuff in the 70s was really progressive too. This was the one song that was long enough to make that I really like a lot. Liked it when I first heard it. Liked it throughout the years. Like it now. Still one of my favorite. Sweet Madam Blue from Styx. Fantastic track. Number 11 has become probably my favorite song from this particular album. It wasn't initially, it was kind of mid-range. There's about 5 or 6 I liked a lot, and it was right at the cusp. I think it was like the 5th song. Then there was a bunch that I didn't really listen to, but that's changed over time. I've listened to them all, and this one's come to the surface as being the top song on the album, and that's Ripples from Genesis, from Trick of the Tail. Now, the thing about Ripples I like too is it's a favorite of mine to sing. It's another one of my shower staples, I call it. Okay, number 10 comes from my second favorite album by this group. An album that was the first album I ever listened to the entirety of the album by them. And this song is the best of the long songs. I think it is the only one that qualifies from that album for this. And we're talking about By-Tor and the Snow Dog from Rush. Just epic, like really heavy. You could put this on a heavy metal album and it wouldn't be out of place. Just a real epic, really great instrumentation on it. Fantastic song, By-Tor and the Snow Dog. If you haven't heard this song, you should immediately go listen to it. You'll love it. Okay, number 9 comes from somebody who I don't really think of as a progressive. It's more world music, but he was part of a progressive group, and so he does have some progressive elements in his music. This song, it's borderline progressive rock. Like I actually thought not to include it because of that, but I love the song so much that I decided I was going to, at the last minute, I decided, yeah, it's got to be on this list. So we're talking about San Jacinto from Peter Gabriel and from the Security or Peter Gabriel 4 if you're inclined. I love that album. It's a fantastic album. Number 8 comes from probably one of my favorite groups of all time. This was the only song from their catalog that I thought was long enough and good enough to make this particular chart. Now, last time they had 4 songs on the charts, on the shorts, but on the longs, they're only going to have this one particular one. But it's a great one. Fantastic song. And I almost wasn't going to include it because I wasn't quite sure that I thought it was progressive enough, but I can't deny its progressive elements. So, and that's Minstrel in the Galleries by Jethro Tull. Okay, so moving up to number 7 is a song, of course, from a band that many don't think of as a progressive rock band. They already have one on my list so far, but this one deserves to be up here. Actually, they don't have one on here. Sorry, I thought I included one. It's actually in my honorable mentions, but it's not included in my top 25. Okay, anyway, so this song has long been a song I loved by the band. I never get tired of it. They could play it till the birds come home, and I would never stop listening to it. And we're talking about War Pigs from Black Sabbath off of the Paranoid album, which isn't my favorite Black Sabbath album, but this song is definitely, probably easily my favorite Black Sabbath song. Pretty close. Well, it's my favorite epic one anyway, or it's my favorite long anyways by Sabbath. Okay, so now we get into the top 6. Let's see what we got here. We got 2, 2, and 1 and 1. So we got two from my top 2 and 1 and 1 from Genesis and another one as well. So number 6 is And You and I from Close to the Edge. For some reason I didn't include Siberian Khatru on here, and it probably should have been mentioned in the honorable mention, so I'm going to mention it now in case I forget. It was on my list of Yes songs, but I cut the list down for all 3 of my top bands to just 5. I didn't want to go like 8 and 9 songs from the same group. It's ridiculous. You must not even do the list, right? So I went with this particular song, And You and I, which I really like. John Anderson's vocals. The song is never tiring to me either. Most of these songs don't tire because they're longer and there's more detail and more involved. Okay, number 5 comes Yet from Genesis. Some people feel this is the best Genesis song of all time. You'll get no arguments from me. But there are other longer tracks that might be considered better too. So anyways, I chose Watchers of the Sky from Foxtrot. Fantastic song, starts the album, and the album is great, but the song is the best, I think, on the album. Now, maybe Supper's Ready, but it's not going to be on this list because it's too long. Okay, number 4 comes from another kind of hard rock, considered heavy metal at that time, but definitely a hard rock band. And I tend to be more of a hard rock person than I am even maybe progressive rock. You know, I've grown more towards progressive rock as I've aged, but I think, you know, initially, if you were to ask people what I was a hard rock fan. I was not a heavy metal fan, maybe more of a hard rock fan. But anyways, this song is both hard rock, heavy metal, but has a huge progressive element to it, so I included it. And that's Stargazer from Rainbow, featuring the legendary Cozy Powell. We won't say any derogatory statements here. I love Cozy Powell. I think he's a great drummer, and he's fantastic here. And Ronnie James Dio is at his best here. This is one of his very best vocal songs. Number 3, a song I've long since loved. I play it all the time. I love it on headphones. I love it on the stereo. I love it singing it in the shower. I love to sing it when I'm driving my bike. You know, anywhere I can, I'll sing this song, and I love to watch the video of it too. So it's Yours Is No Disgrace by Yes. probably my favorite progressive song by them as far as these songs go. The top two are from the same band. I've never done that before. I've never done a top list of anything and had the same band have both top songs, but none of these other songs are close. Like right now, the second song, La Villa Strangiato, I've been playing a ton. There's a lot of videos on it right now, a lot of people talking about this particular song. Maybe the greatest instrumental of all time. Definitely my number 2 today. Could have been number 1 a month or 2 ago, but the number 1 song has been probably that for a while. Goes in and out. Sometimes it drops a little bit, but it always comes back up. It's probably the song I've listened to the most of any other song in the history of music. Like even all those Kiss songs that I wore out back in the day, I still think I've played this more than any other song. And that's Xanadu by Rush off of their Farewell to Kings. Epic song. I love everything about it. I love the lyrics. I love the mystical sound to it. I love this, even the synthesizer parts, the drums and all the noises that plays on it. I love Alex Lifeson is absolutely fantastic on this song. Makes the song, I think. I think he makes this song. Of course, Geddy Lee's bass part and his vocals are fantastic as well. I mean, both Peart and Geddy Lee are both right there, but I still think that Alex Lifeson makes this song, makes the difference for this song to be up here. And fantastic. And my hat's off to Alex as he's starting a new career with a new band. I hope he does well with it. So Xanadu ends up number 1. So what we'll do now is we'll do a reverse order of all the songs from 1 to 25, and then I'll give you the honorable mentions. Hopefully I don't forget a couple extras that I had not written down but had intended to. So we have Xanadu at number 1. Number 2, La Villa Strangiato from Rush. Number 3, Yours Is No Disgrace by Yes off of their Yes album. Number 4, Stargazer from the Rainbow Rising album. Fantastic album. You should listen to it if you get a chance. Number 5, Watchers of the Sky from Foxtrot and Genesis. Number 6, And You and I from Yes, from their Close to the Edge, another one of my favorite albums of all time. Number 7, War Pigs from Black Sabbath off the Paranoid album. Number 8, The Minstrels in the Gallery off the same album by Jethro Tull, 1975. Number 9, San Jacinto from Peter Gabriel off his Security album, which also features Shock the Monkey. Number 10, Vitor and the Snow Dog off of the Fly By Night. Love the cover of that album. Fantastic. From Rush. Number 11, Ripples from Genesis off of their Trick of the Tail, my favorite Genesis album. Number 12, Sweet Madam Blue from Styx off of the Equinox album, which has moved up considerably since I first got it. Number 13, Dogs off of the Pink Floyd's Animals, which I think is Pink Floyd's best album. At least currently, I have a couple of Pink Floyd albums that I've gotten recently that I've never listened to before, and I'm starting to get into them. But this right now, Dogs is number 1 as far as Pink Floyd goes. But number 13 here. 14, The Knife off of Trespass, an album I really love from Genesis. Number 15, Peel the Paint from Gentle Giant and their, what's that album called? Three Friends. I knew it was 3 something, but I couldn't remember what it was. An old, what do they call it? The olds? I got the olds tonight. Okay, there you go. Number 16, Talk to the Wind from King Crimson off of their debut album. Fantastic album. From top to bottom, it's a great album. I've now into In the Wake of Poseidon. That's the new one that I'm playing. I'm hoping it's almost as good. If it's even close, it's going to be great. Number 17, On the Silent Wings of Freedom from Tormato from Yes. Number 18, Natural Science from the Permanent Waves album, my first really loved album by Rush. That was probably my favorite when it first came out. Favorite album for a while, but it's drifted down a bit. It's now around fourth or fifth. Number 19, Comfortably Numb from Pink Floyd. Dark Side of the Moon. Dark Side of the Moon. Right. From The Wall. Sorry. An album I don't really like, but I love this song. Number 20, The Seventh Son of the Seventh Son from maybe the last really great Iron Maiden album. I haven't gone beyond it yet, so I can't really say too much. But I really like this album quite a bit, and I love this song. Epitaph next, number 21 from King Crimson, off of the In the Court of the Crimson King. I've mentioned that already. It's got 2 up here. Number 22, Silhouettes from Eloy's Colors. Excellent album from top to bottom. Really liked it. It was in my playlist for quite a while. Number 23, Animation from John Anderson. Haven't listened to this album in a long time, but when I was doing this list, I thought, I got to listen to that album. I really like that album. I like that and Song of Seven. Those are my 2 favorite John Anderson solo albums, and this is my favorite of his songs as far as the longer ones go. Number 24, Starship Troopers, again from the Yes album. So there's 2 of them up here. Yours No Disgrace, Starship Troopers. Starship Trooper, excellent top line song. I had these 2 left, and I decided to put them in this order. So Music Box came 25th from Genesis, from the Nursery Crime album. Excellent, excellent, and excellent, So some of the honorable mentions. First, I want to put the ones in that I just about forgot. And one was, where was it now? The Siberian Khatru from Yes, that's an honorable mention. The Necromancer from Rush's Caress of Steel, another honorable mention. Arriving UFO off of Tormato, another great song, and another honorable mention. Castle Walls, some feel this is the best progressive song by Styx. I ain't gonna argue with them about it. A National Acrobat was the other song from Sabbath. I wasn't sure if this was really progressive, but it was different from Sabbath and was different in a progressive way, so that's why I included it as my honorable mention. School Days from Gentle Giant, another great song off of the Three Friends album. Great. That's the only Gentle Giant album I've listened to a lot, enough. Gentle Giant's probably, I would say Gentle Giant, King Crimson, and Vandergraaf Generator have been the 3 hardest groups for me to penetrate. I'm still not penetrated Vandergraaf, so it's going to take a while to penetrate them. But the other 2, Gentle Giant, I did penetrate it a bit, and I have another Gentle Giant that I've been listening to, and it's taking a while, but I'm warming up to it. So what do we have here? I wrote Floyd. What is that I wrote? I don't even know. I'll come back to it. Us and Them. Oh, sorry. Now I know what it is. It's Time, but it doesn't look anything like Time. It looks like Tiny. Anyways, it's Time from Dark Side of the Moon, of course, and Us and Them. Really great tracks, both of them. Could have made this list. A few years ago, they probably would have made the list, but some other songs have come along and made it tough for me to just keep them up there. Moonchild from King Crimson, love that. Great tune. Was probably my first song that I really liked off of that King Crimson album. The Prophet's Son from Queen, there. One of the few really long tracks that I've had a chance to listen to by Queen that I've really liked a lot. And then from an album, I only had one album from this group for the longest time, and I'm not even sure why that happened, because I liked the album quite a bit. I played it a lot. I just, for some reason, never continued with them. Not really sure. I think it was probably because it came in the early 80s when I was moving away from a lot of this stuff and getting more into rhythm and blues rock, and so I just didn't pursue any of them for some reason. It just happened. and that's a script for the Jester's Tear from Marillion. The other two songs that I wanted to mention were from John and Vangelis. Some people might not think of these as progressive, but they're very different and they're very unusual. Friends of Mr. Cairo, of course, and State of Independence, which was also covered by Donna Summer. A kind of different version altogether there, but she actually doesn't do a bad job of it. But so those are my honorable mentions. Those are my top 25. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that maybe this stimulated some interest in some of these bands. I know my video perhaps has too many Yes, too many Genesis, and too many Rush, but all three of those bands have had a long history of fairly lengthy songs that I really like quite a bit, especially Rush. Almost all of my favorite Rush songs are in this category. Like, I could have added another 5 easy, but you got to have a cutoff line somewhere, otherwise it's too much domination. It's already too much, I think, but I wanted to give mention to all. I don't feel that any of these songs are undeserving. I think they're all great, all of them. So if you have some list that you want to share, go ahead, share it. I'd love to hear it, And I'm hoping that this part B, which is, my favorite progressive rock songs that are longs, from 6 minutes to 14 minutes in length. Next episode will be part C, which will be the epics. All the songs over 14 minutes that are just epic in scale and epic in length and epic in everything. So I'm going to give my top 25 there. I might have a hard time getting 25 here. I mean, I can think of 10 or 15 fairly easily, but the other 10 is going to be tough. So this could be a long list as well. So anyways, I apologize for the list coming out a bit late tonight, but hope you can understand this was difficult. It took a long time to put together. It took a lot longer time to cut down to 25. That last song, Music's Box, I put it in there, but there's 2 or 3 others that were right there, and I just decided that I had to give this song a mention because it's just so great. Anyways, I hope you liked it. If you did, like, subscribe, tell me what you think, give comments if you have to. Go right ahead. I'm all ears. And I hope to see you next week when we will be doing part C, the epics of my favorite prog rock songs. Anyways, you take care. Have a good night. Prog Monster